Okay, this video is how to make a good first impression. And first of all, I think what messes up a lot of young people is they pay too much attention to television and the internet. Television and the internet and the public school environment, they're basically designed to make you stupid, a minimum wage chump. So don't go by that. Okay, in the real world, people judge you, for many things. One of them is, do you look like you have your act together? For example, if you're going to talk about nutrition and give people advice about nutrition and health, then you should look healthy yourself. Somebody who's fat, like Andrew Weil or Robert Lustig, even though they might be intelligent persons, it's harder to take them seriously because they're so fat. Okay, so if you want to be in the business of coaching people about health, you should be slim and fit and lift weights and all that sort of stuff. Okay, also be positive, okay, especially initially when you meet somebody. Once they get to know you, or of course if it's like a medical context, then you talk about your medical stuff. But, when you first meet somebody in a social context, you want to be kind of positive and upbeat. Everybody's got their own problems. And until they know you well and like you, they don't want to hear them unless it's a medical health context. Okay, so How to Win Friends and Influence People is a good book. A lot of people just know this stuff. When I was in my 30s, I had come from kind of being a really obsessive compulsive athlete and student, and I was socially kind of awkward, and my family told me to read these books on body language and social skills, and I read them, and then I went and talked with some ultrasound technologists, some ladies, and they all started laughing at me. They said, oh, we knew this stuff in high school. So everybody learns this stuff sooner or later, but the sooner you learn it, the better for having good social skills. And if you are a little socially awkward, these books right here can really help you a lot. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's an old book, but it's good. I like this one about Charisma Myth by Cabane, and then Body Language by Pease. There's a whole bunch of good body language books and videos. This book on Dress for Success had a big influence on me by John Molloy. But you can learn all this stuff for free. You can pretty much learn it from this lecture right here. Okay, so there was no internet when I was growing up. All right, be trustworthy. And by that, you have open body language, a sincere smile. That includes the eyes. It's called a Duchenne smile. It's a real smile, not a fake smile just with your mouth. Be willing to listen. Somebody who's too overly, only wants to talk about themselves initially, that's not appealing. And who just, doesn't respect you and doesn't care what you say and cuts you off and interrupts you and sort of talks over you, that's not pleasant. Okay, somebody who's polite. Of course, when they're polite, because you want to know, do I mind dealing with this person? They had definitely better be polite, especially in the beginning. Be quite polite. They respect your personal space. Nobody likes somebody who's too intrusive. Common negatives. Being fat is kind of a bad thing. Lots of fat people are super nice, and I like them very much. But it's like very unattractive. And my whole life, I've never had sex with a fat woman. I've never wanted to have sex with a fat woman. I know a lot of fat women who I really like, and they're very nice. But I can tell you, when a man meets a woman, he can't even help it. Something in his brain says, would you have sex with her? Yes or no? It automatically asks that question. And I can say when a woman's fat, the answer is always no. And don't get me wrong, she could be the nicest person in the world. I know lots of fat women that are super nice. They're good people. I like them. But my brain always says, no way would I ever have sex with them. I'm just telling you, that happens automatically, okay? And for a woman to be attractive is very, very valuable, okay? Look at my wife. My wife's gotten millions of dollars from me, okay? And that's why I wonder, why do women do porno? I mean, it's so stupid. I don't care how much they get paid, okay? They basically degrade themselves, probably collect, 10 different venereal diseases with all the disgusting things they do, when the fastest way to make money from a man is to marry him. Oh, God. I mean, if I had understood these things, I don't know if well, anyways, I'm not going to go into the details on that subject. But I'm just telling you, there's no comparison. It doesn't matter how much a woman gets paid for one brief or something like that. A married woman gets money from her husband every month, okay? And it's a lot, relatively speaking. What a guy typically does is he kind of makes himself a servant to his wife and his family, and for good reasons. They need him to do that, okay? But I'm telling you, that's the best deal I've ever seen in life on a large scale that women can get. Okay, and there was a lady by the name, I think her name was Esther Villar. She wrote a book called The Manipulated Man, and that's pretty much what she said, too. Common negatives. Okay, if the person's poorly groomed, poorly dressed, it's sort of like if they have a low opinion of themselves and don't respect themselves, then the other person's like, well, you know yourself better than I do, and if you don't respect yourself, why should I respect you? Or why should I want to have anything to do with you? if somebody's got a bizarre haircut or gratuitous piercings and tattoos, you sort of say they look crazy. It looks like, a cry for help, a low IQ cry for help. So you don't really want to get involved with them if you don't have to. Now, don't get me wrong, guys can have a tattoo for good reason. Let's say they were all in a unit and they all had to go out at the same time and it was a sign of solidarity amongst them. Yeah, I respect that. But, if it's just a typical, teenage angst, it makes the person look kind of stupid, potentially has hepatitis, a substance abuse problem, etc. Okay, it's not appealing. Okay, if they're real rude or closed body language. If they're like that right in the beginning, why would you want to have anything to do with them? You don't, okay? If they have early profanity in the conversation, until you know a person, when you know your friends, you can joke and profanity is part of joking, okay? But when you don't know somebody, to go to that early, it's a sign that they lack self-control, they lack impulse control. You don't want to have anything to do with some new stranger who doesn't have self-control or impulse control. So it makes them look stupid. This line's kind of a repeat of itself. Okay, physically fit. It's a sign of good genes. It's a sign of intelligence. I can tell you, I know, tons of doctors, and I have more respect for the doctors who maintain their own physical fitness. I mean, if you're going to be giving patients and people all this advice about health, you ought to demonstrate good health yourself. You should be thin, which comes from eating a healthy diet. You should exercise and lift weights so you look, solid and you got some energy about you. And it is sort of just makes you look good. All right. I respect the guys that are working out and take good care of themselves and eat well and all that. They look good. They age much, much better. And it might not make such a big difference when you're 25 years old, but when you hit your 50s, it's pretty obvious who exercises, works out, and takes care of themselves versus who doesn't, and who eats vegetarian versus who doesn't. There's some non-vegetarians that are still lucky enough to be skinny, but they still tend to not age that well. Like I know some non-vegetarians who they're thin. They're genetically lucky that they're thin, but they're impotent in their 40s and their 50s. I know guys, they're good-looking guys, and they're thin. They're just genetically lucky to be thin, but they're impotent. These are male doctors taking Viagra in their 40s and 50s. Okay, vegans are very unlikely to have that problem. Okay, at these ages, their Johnsons tend to be just fine. Okay, from my conversations with them. Okay, well groomed. Also, yeah, one last thing. I mean, physically fit. Men traditionally had to go out and do physical work or had to fight or something, and everybody just likes athletes. I know that because I used to hang out around with athletes all the time, and all the athletes, they all liked and respected each other. It's very different than academics. In academics, it's kind of weird, but there's tons and tons of games in academics. Sports is very honest. There's a little bit BS about taking, anabolic steroids, but that's a real minor, minimal thing. In academics, there's tons of BS, tons of jealousy, tons of games and dishonesty. It's not even funny because there's so much money involved. But anyways, be well groomed. Again, if you don't take care of yourself, respect yourself, other people think you know yourself best and you don't respect yourself, why should I respect you? They don't want anything to do with you. Also, part of, let's say the world of doctor hierarchy is that the junior people are considered clueless and you don't really trust them with almost anything. And then through their residency and fellowship, they demonstrate competence and the ability to take on more and more responsibility. And so what I'm saying is, if a person can't even take care of themselves, you're not that confident in trusting them with your money. You're not that confident in trusting them with your personal stories. You're not that confident in trusting them to run anything, okay? So, being well-groomed is just sort of, the entry fee, the ante up, okay? For most guys, they look better with short hair, a short haircut, and clean shaven. Okay, yeah, of course, there's some good-looking guys who look good with long hair, guys who look good with a beard. Yeah, there are plenty of exceptions, but they're relatively uncommon. For me, for example, I like having a beard because I hate shaving, but I kind of look like a slob and I look older, so I shave. All my close personal friends and associates tell me, you should shave, even though I don't like doing it. I do it for that reason, just because I think it makes a significant difference in my appearance, but I don't like it. If I was rich and free and retired and really could do whatever I want, I wouldn't shave. I don't like it. Anyways, well dressed. Sign of respect. Oh, the other thing is too, you see all these internet, millionaire, billionaire guys wearing a t-shirt. When you're a billionaire, wear a t-shirt, okay? For a regular person, if you want to move up in the world and get people to respect and trust you, wear a nice shirt and a tie, okay? Being well dressed is a sign of respect for yourself and others. It's a way that you tell other people who you are. It's almost like a tool that you have that tells people who you are, okay? And it's in your best interest to dress nice. It's a sign of respect for others. And the book Dress for Success is very good by John Molloy. So here's a book, Dress for Success by Molloy. He says the fanciest shirt you can wear is a plain white dress shirt. The best material would be organic cotton. Those are hard to find. At least get cotton. It's a natural fiber, breathes better. There's less problems with it. Don't get the non-iron. I made a whole video about shirts. But anyways, wear a suit. I won't leave my house to go to the grocery store unless I have a nice shirt on and a tie. And the reason I do that is many years ago I went to the store one time in a t-shirt and I got this like rude attitude from the clerk and one of the salespeople versus when I wear a suit and tie, I at least get treated with a minimal level of respect or more, but at least I get that. And you want that. You want that. It's in your best interest. I know it makes a significant difference. Let's see. Think about a real estate agent. You're asking yourself, would I trust this person with my money, with my personal business? So they had better look trustworthy, and that's why they real estate agents, most of them, they dress very nice, they're very polite, short haircut, nice, clean shaven, all that stuff. Their business depends on it. Look at salespeople. They're always really well dressed, well groomed, real nice, polite manners, because they have to make a good first impression. Their whole financial livelihood depends on it. Think about a surgeon. Basically, when you're asking this person to do the major invasive procedure, they have to trust you. And I know from being a doctor for over 30 years, this stuff is what looks a lot better. That you're well groomed, well dressed, open body language, We talked about the other body language video I had for public speaking. Your hands are in the truth plane about the level of your umbilicus. Palms are shown forward to them to show you don't have a weapon. And it's a sign that, that you can be trusted. You've got your hands out to the side. That's open body language rather than closed across the front. That would be closed body language. With the open body language, in a sense, you're exposing your abdomen, showing a vulnerability. Again, these are all signs that you can be trusted. So, it's pretty easy to do all this first impression stuff, and it's in your own self-interest to do it. So, hope that's helpful.